Hello and welcome to Center 1 of the Honeybees unit for our Designs in Nature theme. Already on to our last session. It's gone really quickly. So this unit, this particular bin has a ton of information. So I encourage you to read through it, think about your audience, whether you're working with kindergarten or fourth grade, and choose accordingly because you won't be able to go over everything. But there's kind of three parts to this center, and you can touch on all of them or you can really focus on one depending on the interest level of the students. So the first part is the anatomy of a honeybee. And we have here, we have a filled out anatomy, and then this is the key to kind of our little game we can play. So depending again on the age of the students, you might have them look at this first and talk about it before and then have them try to match it up. Or you could have the older students just see if they can make educated guesses based on what they already know or what they can figure out. But what we have is this has Velcro on it, and the pieces with the names are on the back so they can put the pieces in and then you can check it with the key. And then there's also on the back of the key, there's a description with the different, what the different parts do. So kind of a fun one there and really gets some background knowledge on it. There's also, for the younger kids, you might sing the insect song as to the tune of head, shoulders, knees, and toes. And they can sing that to go along with the anatomy portion. Sorry about the barking dog in the background. Okay, the second part kind of deals with different types of honeybees and then also different insects that look like honeybees or are related to honeybees. So we have some bumblebee information. We have some this shows the difference because a lot of people will see a yellow jacket and think it's a bee or think a honeybee is a yellow jacket. So talks about the differences. There's a lot of beautiful color pictures in here that they can look at. I won't go over them all now in the video, but a chance for you to kind of look at everything. And then this is pretty cool, especially for the older kids. This has a description of the three different types of honeybees, the queen bee, the drone bee, and the worker bee, what they do and what they look like. And then in these pictures that at first glance just look like a lot of bees, actually have some of the different types, and you can start to pick out those differences. And on the back, there's a little star about where in the picture that type of bee is. So this says drone. So if you look, this one in the center is a drone, and you can see that it's bigger and different looking than all the little worker bees around it. So that's another one for the older kids, seeing the nuances of the different types of honeybees. And then finally, we get into the life cycles, and this will probably be higher interest for the younger kids. So this is just a little, don't open it, but it's just they can look at the different life cycles of the honeybees. And then what we have here are timelines. We have the life of a honeybee worker, and the scale is in days. So again, this can be easily changed for the different levels of students. So you can have the older students notice the difference of scale, days versus human years. And then this kind of goes through from day 1 to day 63, what all they go through in their lives. And then you can compare it to the average human life cycle. So that's kind of a fun one for kids to look at and just start to think about the life of a honeybee. And now there is also a life cycle of a bumblebee, and please make sure you note that there is a difference between bumblebees and honeybees, but there's also some similarities as well. But this kind of goes through the life cycle of the bumblebee. So again, as you can see, there's a ton of information. One other thing I need to talk about, because this will probably be the highest interest, one of the volunteer bring-ins is actually bees. So bees should be starting to come out. So if you happen to see some dead bees in your yard or nearby, please pick them up and bring them in a plastic, if you have a plastic container or a plastic bag, because that'll give a chance for, we have hand lenses in the bin, and students can really start to look at the actual bee and see if they can pick out some of these parts. So we'll try to gather some bee bodies. Please don't kill them to get the bodies. Do not sacrifice the bees, but if you happen to see a bee that has died, grab it and we will use it for the center so that they can have hands-on looking at the bee bodies. So if you have any questions and you just might with the center, please email mitchellelf@gmail.com. Otherwise, have fun and thank you.